Hiya guys, Nigel here with you again, and yes, another review. This is, what's this, 3 reviews in 2 days I think. So the last review I did was of the Mirror Models Diamond T Wrecker, and a lot of you seem to love the part built sort of thing, so you get, rather than just a sprue review, you're getting a review of the kit, what it's about, you get a good look at the instructions, and then you get to hear about the good and bad things of the model. So I've got this model here which is on the go, and I thought I'd do the same thing again. So this is now Thunder model, and this is the British Scammell Pioneer heavy artillery tractor, R100. As I said yesterday, Thunder model are basically a sort of rebirth of Mirror models. Now I'm not sure if Mirror models are still going even. They probably are, and I'm sure there's going to be kits available out there. But I know that Thunder model are certainly a current company that are building kits. I think also you'll find a couple of the Thunder models and maybe a couple of the Mirror models kits are appearing as Airfix boxings, like the tractor and everything. So yeah, really interesting. And you will see from this, like I said to you with the Mirror Models kit, you had all the big heavy sprue gates and everything. You don't have that with this. He's changed the supplier. He contracts out the injection moulding, and I know that this is actually moulded by a different company than was used for the others. So this is actually a far different kit. So this is plastic kit number 35202. You can get this one, which is the R100. Then you can get the S2S, is it? Whatever. What is it? The other one. It's the SV2S, the recovery tractor. And then you can also get the beautiful Scammell tank transporter as well. I've got all 3 of them. All 3 of them are part built, and my intention is to get them all done. Basically, I want to make some shelf space where my stash is, and these kits are nearly finished, so I'm just going to get them done. First thing I want to say, this box, I mean, if you look at it, these are probably the best boxes out there. They're even better than Trumpeter, I think. They are very glossy, which makes it a nightmare for reviewing, but they are very thick, very strong corrugated cardboard. I would happily wrap this in brown paper and post it. And if you do look back, you'll see I've already done a sort of a showing what I've been up to with all 3 of these models. It was one of my first videos way back in 2018. So we're not a lot forward from then because they've been put away, but I'm determined to get them done now. So here we go. So looking around the box, you can see on here we've got some information about the model itself, about the actual truck itself, should I say. There's this book here, which I have actually got, and if you want to see a review of that, I'll do it. Developed in partnership with Capricorn Publications, that book. And then we can look on the end of the box here, and we can see we've got Chinese and Japanese, or maybe Korean, I'm not sure. In fact, probably Chinese, Japanese and Korean. So there we go, that's the image there on the side of the box. And then you've got some information about the actual kit itself. 430 plastic parts, really beautifully detailed kit. Slide molded detail, reproduced and highly detailed chassis and winch, yep. Accurately molded engine, yep. Cabin full interior, beautiful. Plastic tyres, they are the kit's only letdown in my opinion. I'll show you more of that in a minute. Doors and windows can be assembled, closed and open, fully walkable suspension, PE detail sheet, scale ropes, 3 decal options included, glue and paints to keep away from children. Thundermodel.com, we'll have a look at his website. And on the other end of the box here, we've got the same thing, and we can see on the back of the box here, we can see we've got some other kits here. There's the train there, which I've never actually seen. I'm not sure if that ever appeared. That one did appear, the railway truck. This one did appear, the US motorcycle. And then you've got this one here, the C9B Beaufort's gun truck, which is a beautiful model which I've never built. And then you've got the SV2S recovery tractor I talked about, and then here's the book. So when we look inside the box, you can see there's not a lot left. But what I'm going to do is move the light closer now that we haven't got the gloss of all the... But you can see on here with these sprues with parts that are left, there's the front fenders, and you can see we no longer have these massive sprue gates. It's all very tiny. It is also a different plastic. It's extremely nice to work with. It is lovely, it really is lovely, and you can see some of the fine detailing there on some of the parts is very nice indeed. You see the bolt patterns on and the edging around that panel. You've got some hinge detail down the bottom there. But you can see there's no flash, there's nothing, really sharp, crisp moulding, and hundreds of tiny parts. So again, not a beginner's kit. If you are new to modelling, you'd be better off with one of these than you would be with the mirror models, but definitely not for beginners. You can see again we've got that lovely bulk detail on those parts there. Very, very crisp. The moulding I think is every bit as good as Tamiya. So yeah, so that's that. You do get a few bits and pieces that aren't used. So what I'm going to do is show you the instructions, and then I'll show you what I've done. Well, I'll show you first what we get in the box. So we're back to shiny stuff now. So this is a aftermarket Scammell Pioneer basket. The basket that actually comes in the model, again, is photo etched. You fold it all up, but it's a little bit simple. So Liebherr has made this aftermarket one, which is far nicer than the standard one. Having said that, if you're going to be plastering it all in mud and everything, then you could actually do without having, without having that and just go for that one. In fact, I'm not even sure if this truck actually has a basket down there. It's certainly not appearing on there, so we shall see. But it's in the photo etch, so maybe it is supposed to be there. We'll see. And we've got some decals in there. We've got 3 separate sheets, and you can see, I'll get these out for you. I bet you're being glossed out by that. So we've got some decal sheets there with our number plates and some other identifications there. And then we've got this one here, which is some serial numbers, just in white. And then we've got our instrument panel there. So you've got the black background, and you've got the white decals to go over the front, which is a nice touch. Saves you having to paint the black backgrounds, because the actual instrument panel itself is off. That's very strange, because I don't think I've used it. It's very strange. I've lost the instrument panel, so never mind. It'll turn up somewhere. And then you've got these 4 discs here that go on the back of the wheels. I'm not quite sure what they're all about, but it's obviously some sort of spacer just to make the track, the width of the axles, the track correct. So that's that. So that can all go back in there. And then we've got this lovely bit of chain for the block and tackle lifting on the back. So that's going to be to scale. I know you're thinking that looks too small to be like a towing chain, but it's not. It's like the block and tackle that you use for lifting stuff. And then we've got some rope here as well for the winch. So all nicely done. It is very nice, this rope, actually. It's much nicer than the hairy thread you get with some other kits. So that's what you get in the box there. So let's have a look at these colour call-outs first of all. Let's make sure we don't get glossed out. Yeah, move the light again, Nige. So we've got these colour call-outs. So this is the first one. So we've got SCC2 with the black over the top. Now that's not strictly correct. It should be SCC2 with either SCC1A, which is a dark brown colour, or the SCC14, is it, which I think is a blue-black colour. Yes, I've got one here in the AK Real colours. So the SCC14 is more of a sort of grey, bluey black colour. This is the SCC1A. Okay, so this is the SCC2, the base colour that I've mixed. And then there's the 1A, and that's the 14. So you've got a choice of those 2 colours. And then, of course, in 44, was it, or 43, they changed to SCC15, so that all the British vehicles match the American imported vehicles. So there we go. So there's your SCC2 with the Mickey Mouse, or whatever they call it, over the top. So that's what I'll be using with the SCC2 and the SCC1A. And then you've got this one here, which is SCC15 and SCC2. I'm not 100% sure about the accuracy of that. I'm sure it's correct, but they've got a date and everything for it here. Operation Torch 1942. But I don't have details written down of that one, so I don't know. Then there's this one here. This one's captured. So this is the German grey. So that could be quite a little interesting project for you. But there are no decals or anything for markings to show that it's German. And then we've got this one here, which is a khaki green colour, an SCC 15, and again there's no date there or anything, so I'm not, as of its accuracy I don't know. The only one I would guarantee that I actually seen in writing is correct is that the SCC2 with the black, or you could go later with just the SCC 15 overall, the olive drab, and then maybe add some camouflage. Maybe this was a field application, but certainly the main colour of the truck there would be green. So that's that done. So looking at the instructions, first thing we've got an addendum here. When these models were originally released, all three of them, they came with a radiator attached to the sprues that had 7 segments on it. So I think it had 6 segments and it should have had 7. So straight away Libor was on it and he made a new radiator grille, which you actually find in the box with the kits. And just to show you how lovely that is, here is the radiator built up. Okay, and you can see, let's bring the light back down yet. We haven't got any more glossy stuff to look at. So you can see that radiator is gorgeous. Yeah, and you got the detail on the top there and everything. All the bulk detail. It really is lovely. You've got the shroud on the back as well. But it is absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? Yeah, you could imagine that with a wash on it. It's going to look stunning. So that's one part shown. So yeah, when you first thing you do, you look at the instructions. You've got all on here. You've got your you know, your advice about using some cyanacrylic glue and everything. You got all your legends and everything down here. Let's just make sure you're not out the screen. No, you're okay. So first thing we're doing is it's got some history about the actual truck itself here. So we're building up the engine, and you can see here how beautifully detailed it is. Now, when we go through, you're going to see some red marking, and these are the notes that I've used to actually build the model when I actually built it. So what we're saying here is add B20, okay? And I think B20 is a part of the engine that is put in when the engine is fitted. I'll tell you what, I'll show you that when I actually come to look at the engine itself. Add B31, which is a the exhaust manifold flange. And then we're adding it all together here. And I've got 1426 on there. I don't know why. I don't know why I've got 1426 on there, but it could be that I'm saying fit it in step 26. Then we've got the starter motor going together there, and then we've got some radiator hoses. And as you can see here, they're telling you to fit the radiator to the engine. Well, all it's going to be held on by is those 2 tiny little hoses. I wouldn't advise that. So here is the engine. This is the engine built up. And you can see those 2 tiny little hoses there. That's all that's going to be supporting your radiator if you built it as per the instructions. So they're basically going to fit one in there and one in there. I mean, you can see that's just not going to be, it's just not suitable. So basically just build the engine like that. Then we've got the engine finished, and we're going to paint it and everything. Then we're going to go to our front suspension, and here we've got our swivels, okay, that are going in between the actual axle halves. And then you've got this A-frame here, so you've got this front suspension that swivels side to side, and then you've got the steering that goes like this. Now you can actually make this steer, and like I say, if you go back to August 2018, I have done a video on how to do it, okay, how to make the Scammell steer. But you must remember with these Scammells, if you make the wheels steer, the mudguards also go with the wheels. You can see you've got these almost bicycle type mudguards on the front here, and they steer with the wheels. So don't forget, that's what you must do. But you know, I show you all that in the video that I've done back in 2018. And then here I'm saying these parts here, B12 and 13 and C15, fit them at this stage. And the reason for that is when you actually, if you glue them in like there now, they go into a position, and then you have to sandwich this frame between this cross member here and this cross member here that you're putting in. And if you get it slightly out, then it's not going to hold it, it's not going to fit. Or it's not, if you get it like this, it's going to fall out. If you get it like this, it's not going to fit. So I'm recommending assemble that, glue it all in at this stage when you put this in. And the other thing I did was actually put a brass pin in the back of there to just make it a little bit stronger, to give it more of a positive location. Again, I'll show you all that in a minute. And then we're going on adding all the details for the free towing spring and everything. And then we've got some supports and everything going on there. Then we're going into the transmission. As you can see, again, it's really beautifully detailed. Fair leads going out the back. Yeah, I remember the word straight away. The fair leads there for going out the back. Again, beautiful little assembly, very lovely detail. Transmission going in onto its own little mount. As I say, you build up the whole chassis really before you put the engine in, because the engine is a different colour. Fitting the fair leads in the back, we've got some rear cross members going, and we've got the leaf spring for the rear pintle there. And then we're starting on the winch assembly. Look at this, you've got the winch gear, you've got that ratchet mechanism there. It's all going together. You've got more fair leads here, you've got the upright for it there. It just goes on and on the detail in this model. And then you've got leaf springs again in halves, which is a really nice touch to save the sink marks. You've got air cylinders going in with these beautiful U-bands holding them in. Again, I'll show you that on the second. And then you've got a actuator going in there, another air cylinder there, adding the winch, adding the operating mechanism for the winch, and then you've got the brake lever going in there. We've got a big coil spring thing here for going on the winch. I'll show you that again in a minute. And then we've got the actual operating mechanism there coming off the back. You've got a drum on there. Prop shafts going in. I've got them circled because I haven't put them in yet. And then you've got these beautiful separate U-bolts and plates for the actual leaf springs, which is an absolutely gorgeous touch, and they really do look impressive. Then we're making up the actual main rear hubs. You can see it's like a chain drive type thing in there, so they're driving through the centre with one axle, and then they're actually coming off with chains driving the actual outer wheels themselves. Final drive going together there. You've got the differential. Okay, and then you've got it all going together with the pivots. You don't cement that, so it can all pivot. And then you add the prop shaft in there going to the rear axle. Then we've got, this is showing us here, this is the actual braking system. So if you want to actually copy all this, you can. And this is actually taken from the Scammell manual. You can see there's some plumbing there with some hydraulic lines for your braking system, which is a nice touch. Not many kits you get that in the instructions. I've got here, check fit over engine before paint. Dummy fit your engine into the chassis before you actually fit the floor, because I found on, I think, 2 of mine, the plastic was a little thick under here and it just touched the top of the engine and it stopped the actual floor sitting down properly on the chassis. So worth checking. You just have to thin out a little bit of the plastic underneath that tunnel there. I think it depends on how the engine gets built up. You know, just sort of build up a tolerances really. So you've got the seats all going together here. You can see that the seat frames there, and you've got a photo etch guide there for the gear stick. We've got got some ammo boxes going in there, pedals and levers going in, dash panel, some more air filters and stuff, or oil filters going inside the cabin, and then that's going to be an electrical junction box, instrument panel here, adding some chassis members to the bottom of the floor, putting on the sides of the cab, adding the windows in the sides, and you get templates here to actually cut, so you can measure those and then cut your masking tape out for your windows, and I believe they are actually a really good size, so you can use them. And then we're going to fit our cab to the chassis, fitting in the handbrake mechanism up through the back. That's a beautifully detailed part. Building up our steering box and putting that up through. Adding this part here, B31, to the engine, and that's what I was talking about earlier. B31 is this part here, and it attaches to that pipe there. There is no reason why you can't fit that now, okay? Because basically that is going to go and fit onto the actual air inlet here, the actual air filter on the body. But it also needs to line up with this pipe here. So to get a nice join on there, fit this at this stage, and if you do need to move it at all, you see you can move it and that pipe will go with it. Whereas if you fit it here, once your engine's all painted and installed and everything, you've then got this join here to deal with. So I've decided to do it like that. I've done all 3 of mine the same. Adding the bonnet, we've got the air filter going on there, exhaust manifold, and it's showing that part B20, which again I said fit that when you actually build the engine, otherwise you've got to fit that onto a completely painted engine and everything, so best to do it there, and it's easier to fit a pipe to that rather than have to fit that flange. But it's nice that it's there. I mean, you can see the detail in the engine there. When I show you that flange, you can see it's got the 4 bolts on it and everything on this flange here I'm talking about. So yeah, really, really nice. glazing going in, steering column going in with headlight with indicators or whatever on there, and then we've got the actual openers for the windows in photo etch if you want to add them in. You may just want to add the outer two, but they're going to be very, very flimsy and get easily knocked off. And then we've got some sort of control lever or whatever going in there for the winch. So there we go, that's all that by. So now we're going to start on the actual cargo bed in the back, or the back bed, the ammunition storage, I guess, because this was basically for towing the big howitzer gun around, and I've actually got one of those coming, so I'll be doing a review of that as soon as it arrives, and it's very few parts as well, so I'll probably do a quick build on it as well. So this is the upper beam that goes into the roof of the truck, and then you've got this carriage that goes along that's going to be, this is your block and tackle in here, and that's where your chain's going to go, and your cable for lifting up your ammo boxes and stuff and lifting them into the back. And you can see here what they're telling you to do is modify this part and fit it in there so you can actually slide this in and out. So that's going to go up. You see this is sliding up into that part there, and then that part's going the other side of it so it can slide in and out. Okay, and then you can have it in extended position, or you can leave it loose like I have so it can just pull it out if you want to do a diorama or something with it. It is quite firm in there, you don't need to mess with it too much. So that's all going to come out of there. Then we're going to build up the floor section. This is all made of wood, as I'll show you in a minute, and then we've got our seats and everything going in there for the rear, well, for the passengers or the crew, whatever you want to call them. That'd probably be the gun crew sitting in there, and that's going to go into the front of the rear bed there. Then we're adding in our stowage for the wheel chocks. That's the word I was looking for. Sides going on here, and then you've got some supports going in the floor there, and then you're going to add that onto your chassis. Pop the roof on the top, and then you can fit this part in here on the rear part of the bed, the rear part of the roof, and then that actual unit will sliding in and out then. So it's saying if you're going to have it inside there, fit it on the inside there, and if you're having it on the outside, fit it on the outside there. So basically this plastic part will not allow you to roll the actual block and tackle over it. So a little bit of surgery, just thin it down, you'll be able to make it work. I'm not saying you want to play with your model, but you may want to display it as it is, and then later date you might want to put it on a diorama with a couple of howitzer guns or something, and a tank next to it. So you can then just pull it out and have the cable hanging down with the chains, and it'll be beautiful. Here we are now adding the front fenders. Now something I do have to look at, I think from my initial trials, you can see here the front fender is sitting up quite high above the wheel. You can see it here as well, and I don't think that's particularly accurate. I think the fenders were actually much tighter on the wheels in reality. So I think that actual frame, this little frame here, if I can get it out of that seat, come on, like this little frame here I think needs to be shortened to allow it to come down, so that's going to be a little bit of surgery to make that work. Adding the hubs onto the end of the front axle, and then this is the kit's let down, if I'm honest. We're assembling the wheels. I mean, the front wheels are very nice with their tread pattern. Like a lot of Bronco wheels are built up this way, and they're beautifully done. Engine side panels going on here, building up the fuel tank. Now you know that I'm a big stickler for saying get the kit, look through the instructions, build up your sub-assemblies first. If you're going to build one of these, the first thing you want to do is assemble this fuel tank, because believe me, you got this separate part going in here for the filler neck, which is going into the top of there, and then you got the two halves going together, and I've got one here, and you can see the amount of Mr. Surfacer. I've put 3 lots of Mr. Surfacer on there to cover that gap. That part doesn't fit particularly well. So basically you want to be building this up, get the glue hard, then get your Mr. Surfacer, and you can be sanding it if you need to put more in, and then when you need it, it's there for you to put on. You're not having to spend 2 or 3 days waiting for Mr. Surfacer to dry while you sand it down, so you can actually use the part at all. So do that first, and then we're going to fit some windscreen wipers, a couple of mirrors, some bits and pieces of greeblies, and then we can fit the chain here to our block and tackle. And then here we are, rear wheels again, bit of a letdown. Tread pattern's not particularly accurate, I don't think, but at least it hasn't got vinyl tires. I don't know what to say. Liebherr does actually make a set of resin wheels for it. I've got the resin wheels for the for the tank transporter, for the truck and the trailer, but I don't have the resin wheels for this, so I may get some. I'll probably just glue these wheels on with maybe with a bit of blue tack or something, just to make sure, just so they're on there, and then get some resin wheels afterwards. I did see some on eBay earlier on, but they were like £18 just for the 2 front wheels, I think. So I'm not sure if I like them. They also were very, very road going sort of tyre tread as well, rather than the chunky tread. So there we are, and there we've got our sort of junk tray, if you like, or whatever. This is where your chains and blocks and tackles and whatever will go in there. And that's the one I said you can make that up, or you can buy the aftermarket one. And then you've got your rear mud guards going on here, which are actually photo etch. So you've got photo etch on the bottom, photo etch on the top, and then you've got these steps, which are very finely moulded plastic parts going up there. And then you've got these angle brackets here to support it. And then last but not least, we've got the sprue call outs. So this is showing you some parts you don't need. A1 you're not going to use because that's that wrong radiator grill, so make sure you throw that away and use the good one. Or if you haven't got the good one and you're not worried about accuracy, just use that one and no one will probably ever notice. This is showing a couple of parts here that aren't used, some more parts down here that aren't used. You can see there's quite a lot to this kit. You've got some wheels and tyres that aren't used. It's basically because that's the same sprue as you've got for the tank transporter, and the tank transporter wheels are bigger, so that's why. You end up with a lot of spares. You end up with a lot of spares of wheels and tyres and bits for this. The engine parts are on there, lots of bits of bracketry and stuff. You've got a sprue of clear parts, which are nice and clear. All the rear bed here, it's all done modular like, so that he could make, you know, the SV2S, the tank transporter, and this, and probably others as well. So there we go, that's that. Now I know that one question that's going to come up, should I get this or should I get the IBG kit? Let's just say I had the IBG kit and I sold it. The IBG kit in a lot of areas is not as well, let's just say the IBG kit is not as well detailed as this one, and in a lot of areas it's very chunky. It's not as fine detail. This to me looks like a far more accurate representation in 35th scale of a Scammell. In fact, the mate that I was talking about, whose mate had the Diamond T, the actual mate I was talking about that I work with, had one of these. In fact, no, he didn't have one of these. He had the SV2S. He had the truck, the wrecker, but I never got to see it. It was put into a farm or something. I was going to go and see it. It was down near Bristol, and then there was a bit of a dispute because the guy was selling the farm, and the people who bought the farm reckoned it was their Scammell, and I never actually got to see it. I don't know. I must get in touch with Ed actually and find out what happened to it. Anyway, less of the waffling, Nige. So let's just go with it as it was in the instructions. So as I've already shown you, this is the engine, and it's got the transmission attached on the back. So what I'm going to do is bring you in a bit closer, so we can see things in a lot better detail. And then, so you can see, I'll just basically go around and show you the engine. You can see the detail on it is absolutely gorgeous. For a 35th scale engine, you can see that fuel injection pump and everything. And you'll also see that I've got the 6 pipes there, the 6 brass pipes in there, drilled out, ready to put the pipes in for the diesel injectors. I can't remember if I drilled yes I have, I've drilled the injectors as well, so I'll be putting pipes in there to actually replicate the fuel lines. And also, let's find a pointer, these 2 little blocks here, one there, they were actually sheet metal parts bent over the top of the rocker covers, so you can actually open them out. So I've got an engine here that's painted, and I haven't done that, and you can see there they are solid. There's those 2 blocks there solid. So if you thin them out, they look a lot better. And this is actually the correct colours. So you've got the blue for the engine, which I think I've used Tamiya colours. I think I've probably used XF23 on that, and then you've got the green for the gearbox, which would probably just be the Tamiya XF5, is it green? Because it's all going to get covered in oil and dirty anyway. But there you go, that's that assembly. And as you can see, I've been able to paint everything together, and this pipe and everything, because I've added it on beforehand. And then you can see how I know to add those before you paint it, because I've added them on there and realised it was quite difficult. So there we are, that's all that built up. And you can see there the transmission is lovely as well. It's had a gloss coat, so it's ready for oils and everything. But there we are. Very, very nice indeed. Even got the inspection port there for the flywheel up. So they are absolutely stunning. Okay, so then we move on to the chassis. Now this chassis is, I think, by far one of the nicest. It's up there with ICM, it's up there with Mini Art, you know, some of the Bronco kits. It's just gorgeous. Just feast your eyes on this detail. If I just take you around it, you know, look at the detail on this area, this leaf spring area here. It's just, you know, you've got the U-bolts going around the axle. You can see here. You know, look how they come out on the top. They're absolutely stunning. It's not just lumps of plastic anywhere. It's proper, you know, really nice looking stuff. You've got the final drive on the bottom there, which is free to turn. Okay. You can see the detail on top of there. You've got the actuators there for the brakes and everything. If you remember, I showed you in the instructions, you had a plan on how to cable it all up if you wanted to. So, you know, a few bits of wire, a few bits of cable, you could make this thing really, really stand out. Here's the front axle pivoting. If you remember, I told you about this part here. This is what you assemble when you fit this A-frame. Otherwise, you could get that out. And there's a piece of brass. There's a piece of brass drilled in there, and gives it a, you know, more of a location rather than. In fact, I think I can actually pop it out. Yeah, you can see the piece of brass in there. Okay. So there you go, and that actually gives it a better location, stops it popping out. You can see here I've got these brass rods sticking out the top there, ready to slide the mud guards down over and then get cut off. But you can see here that all swivels, and what you do here, as I showed you in the video, you drill through and we put like a little, I don't know how well the camera's going to focus. I've basically made like a little washer out of the punch that's on the top. No, it is on the bottom. I've made a little washer, you can almost see it there, and just put that over the brass, drop a super glue, and then that's holds. So you've got a brass pin there which is actually glued into the track rod, and then it goes down through two holes in those pivots there, and then the plastic goes over the top. Drop a super glue, quick run over with a sander, and there you go, you've got your swivels. And I also, on the tank transporter, I've actually made all the steering work with it as well. So it's not just fake, it's when you actually move the steering, the pitman arm goes as well. So yeah, lots of work. But you can see that winch mechanism there, which is gorgeous. And this is actually the SCCA2 colour here, guys. Not the SCCA2, SCC2. Okay, and again, as I told you with the diamond T, don't add any arms or anything, and keep all this pivoting so that it all moves. I've got a feeling that there are no arms on this one anyway that I'm talking about. Shut up, Nigel. So there we go. And then we've got the beautiful Fairlead detail on the back there, you can see. Okay, and the rear spring. And then you can see those beautiful U-bolts I talked about, holding those air tanks in. You know, talk about beautiful out of the box. This is out, other than that pivot, this is out of the box. Oh, and those steering pivots there. But there's no actual detail added from any aftermarket resin, nothing. It's just simple building and sanding, and taking your time. You can see the detail there on that front. You know, you've got the nut and bolt detail on the actual clamp there that's holding it all together. It's just absolutely gorgeous. They really are lovely models. So there's your chassis. I've shown you the radiator already. So look at the rear, or look at the cab. This is the cab here. And I'm going to pause this now because I'm going to get another cab which is finished. Okay, so here you can see this is the cab for the R100. Then you've got the SV2S, which is the same. Be careful about the placement. They're telling you to put a toolbox down here, or an ammunition box. Be careful where you put it, because I think you'll find that on these that have got the access here, it would get in the way. So I think they put it under the seat more. So just do a bit of research on that. Because you've got the seat backs there. Again, this area here, I've thinned that out, okay, because it's a bit thick. Because in real life, that would just be I'll show you there, close up. Can you see? Trying to get this camera to focus is a nightmare. Come on, focus. You see this area here, I've thinned it out here, okay, because basically that's just a thin steel sheet that the seat goes on. You can see if we look underneath, if I can get the camera to see underneath, You can see how it is standard. You've got this thick plastic. I'll just thin it out and it just makes it look so much better. So you can see here, this one here, basically the same thing. You can see you've got really lovely detail on the pedals. You've got all the lovely tiny little levers. You've got this photo etched gate here for the lever to go in and out of. On this one I've actually glued the winch brake mechanism into the floor rather than have it glued to the chassis. I need to add the seat squabs yet in the front and the back. You can see we've got the wood grain effect on there. But when you actually look at it, and these seat frames and everything, just, you know, they're just absolutely stunning. And that is all out of the box. No aftermarket, nothing. The only thing that's modified there is those edges scraped down there. That's it. So, you know, you can see it's just absolutely beautiful out of the box. And this wood grain effect is something I like to do. I put the plank details underneath as well, just because I'm sad. I've got a bit of tape still stuck in there. But there we go. And you can see on this one I've actually scraped that area out. And I can't remember if I did. It looks like I haven't touched this one. But there we go. So that's how that goes. But you can see that cab is just gorgeous. And then we've got the cargo bay at the back. Now what I've done here, I've painted it all with wood grain. Then I've masked off the wood grain and painted it brown, the SCC2. And then I've removed some of the masking just so it doesn't sort of get stuck into the corners and stuff. But my idea here is once this is done, once this is dry, what I'm going to do is actually take all the tape off, hairspray it, paint it with the camo colours, and then I'm going to give it a gentle, I'm not going to chip it and scrape it, I want to give it a gentle rub and just have the wood just showing through. Like I did, if you see my ambulance build, I did it on that. And it just gives you that proper sort of wood grain finish coming through. I think on the inside, I'm not sure if it would have been painted or not, but certainly this area down in here would have been, and that's my intention, is to sort of basically just show it all worn through. On the SV2S you've got a lot more wood to play with, but I do enjoy playing with wood grain, and as you can see with all this, you've got lovely plank detail, all the bulk detail and the wood grain in there, all out of the box. That is just everything, again, out of the box. It's stunning, isn't it? It's absolutely beautiful. Here's the bulkhead. Nothing much to say about that really. I fitted the clear parts in the bottom there and then masked them off so that you get a nice seam-free joint. The upper window's open anyway, so you don't need a nice clean joint around them. And that's basically going to get glued onto the front of there like so. And that'll be that done. So there we go. So that's that. The roof is here. And you can see that I've got this sliding out, this beam, which is where you're going to lift up all your ammo, and then you've got the block and tackle, which will slide along there, as you can see. So you can have this, if it's this way up, you'll have that displayed like that with that hanging out the back. There you go, and that's actually going to fit on there. And you've got to cut a section out of this, which I've already done actually. So that's going to fit on there, like so. I mean, you can see how beautiful that fits. Look at it. It's just, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And that's going to go up in there, and then that can come back throughout like that. You'll have it basically stood there, and you can have lifted ammo boxes into the back. You can have your tailgate open or whatever. So there we are. So that's that. Wheels and tyres I got here. Here's one of the, as you can see, the tread pattern's a bit weird. You've got the choice, you could have two separate tread patterns. This is the one I've gone for. It's just basically whether you have this middle section turned around or not. I'll show you in the instructions what I'm talking about. Here you go, you got the outer, the inner and the centre section. And that centre section, if you turn it 180 degrees, it will give you the different tread patterns. Okay, so that's what you're actually looking at. All right. So there we are. And then on the front wheels, you assemble them up in separate pieces. The instructions show you to actually put it like this. What I suggest you do, find the part that fits the, because there's some confusion over these numbers. Find the ring that fits nicely on that one, glue it on. Find the ring that fits nicely on that one, glue it on, and then glue it all together around that one. Basically what you should have is, you should have Let me try and draw this for you in case you are going to build this. You can see this tread pattern on here. Okay, the kind of chevrons. And what you want to do is end up like that is. So you've got a tread pattern like that. Okay. The only thing that will be wrong, if you get it wrong, if you use like this part in place of that one, what you will end up with is one half like this and the other half will be like that. Okay, so it just needs, you use a different one and it moves it over half a space. So you want to get that constant, and it's the same with the centerpiece. If you get that the wrong way around, it won't look right. So you want to get that constant sort of chevrons going up, you know what I mean. So you've got the accurate tread pattern there. Okay, but yeah, I mean, I think these are lovely. They've got the tire lettering on them and everything, and the size. But you know, there are resin alternatives out there, and as I say, even Libor of LZ models, Thunder models, Mirror models, whatever, he actually makes sets of resin wheels for these, so you can get them from him. But you know, if that's the only letdown of the kit, then hey, we're laughing. And there is nothing else on this model I can criticise. And you know what I'm like. If it's rubbish, I will tell you it's rubbish. If there's something wrong, I will tell you there's something wrong. As I say, the placement of the ammo boxes and stuff in here, like they're telling you to put an ammo box there. Okay, right there. Now, I don't think there'd be one there because the guys have to step through into there to get into the back. So you can imagine that would be right in the way. So I think that would be more over to the side or even tucked under the seats on the other side. So, you know, have a look at your references and I'm sure you'll see what I mean. I can't remember where I found my references from now, but I did. So here we've got the actual seats built up. You can see how finely detailed they are. That is plastic parts out of the box. Shocking, isn't it? There's our bonnet. You've got the beautiful little flange around the edge of it all the way around. Got the air cleaner there, which I've built and got Mr. Servicer on. I just Mr. Servicer on everything, as you know. Got our exhaust manifold there, or exhaust silencer there. That's going to go under the cab. Got the sides of our cab here with the insides painted, ready to go on. So they're going to fit on like so. That's going to go on there like that. Okay, so again, beautiful fit, lovely, nice sharp edge to everything. Really, really nice. Front mudguard supports there. There's one. Let's pour this out so I don't break anything. There's the driver's seat, set off to one side because there's stuff in the way. We've got another side panel there. That's one of the ammo boxes with the diagonal clamp down for the top. Another one there with the diagonal clamp down for the top. So they're going to go in the cab somewhere. We've got our handbrake. Another lever for something there. We've got all our little gear levers. There's that photo etched brass piece that's going to get folded up for the gate for the gears. I'm a bit concerned I still can't see my instrument panel, so I don't know where it's gone. Seat squabs there. What I've done with these, you can see I've gone over and just focus. You can see I've just roughed them up a bit and give them a bit of texture with some extra thin just to soften the plastic. And then there's some little UJ bits here. It's bits where I've got a whole sprue and it's got one little bit left on, and I've cut them off just so I can get rid of the sprue to make some room in the box. And then that there, that's going to actually, like you saw on the other one, that's going to go up through there like so, and that's going to glue to there, glue in there like that. So just like that one is, they are. You can see, and I've just noticed the end of that one is actually broken off, so I'll have to make a new end for that one. So there we are, guys. You can see here, I mean, these gear levers and stuff, look how fine they are. Beautiful. I love when manufacturers make things to scale, because it's really nice when they make stuff to scale. The only time I don't like it is like when Bronco do with their little German staff car. They've made all the front suspension components to scale, which is lovely, thank you very much. But it means the wheels, you just touch them and they fall off, because all of the locations. If you can imagine, it's got like a sort of lever front suspension, and all the locations where it goes are all like scale size. So you've got all your front suspension points are like this, and you just touch the wheel and it breaks off. So but there we go, that's everything there, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Any questions, leave them down below. As I say, I'm going to get this one certainly wrapped up. I also want to get the tank transporter done, because that one's even closer to being finished than this one is. And I really do need to get my ass in gear and get some of these kits finished so I can show you some finished models. I have finished a lot on my channel. A lot of people say I don't ever finish anything. There are quite a few finished projects, but you know, I do tend to put them back in the box because I get fed up, and rather than work on a model fed up, I would rather not work on it rather than mess it up. So what I do is, when I've had enough, I put it back in the box. So that's what I've done with this one. So there we are. Hope you've enjoyed that, guys. I'll see you all soon for another part of this one. Titanic's going to be another couple of days at least, so I'll see you for that one. Bye for now.